welcome to Coastline. Tonight we're talking about festivals, north and south of the Broad. And joining me first, Andy Beall, and we've got a big festival coming up in just a few days now. So tell us about it.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting to talk about. The Santa Elena's presents the Low Country Fair with historical flair, which will take place on November 18 at Cotton Hall Plantation near Shelton Church.
Well, we're excited. We're going to be joining you out there, providing some support for the event. Tell us a little bit what we see when we come out.
Well, we're very excited to have the help of the County Channel. It's an opportunity to have 6 hours of broadcasting of all kinds of activity that we have planned. So the fair, the idea of the fair is to feature the Carolina Marsh Tacky Horse Association and have a horse race. The Carolina Marsh Tacky horse is a bloodline from the Spaniards that arrived here centuries ago. So we're really excited about partnering with them. But the event will include food and music and reenactors, and a horse show and a horse race will be our featured activity.
We're definitely looking forward to it, and you'll be able to actually see the Marsh Tacky races, a number of them actually, and you'll be able to go and see the animals being prepared as well. So real bands, we got bands out there.
Food and music, and it's a great partnership with the local community. We worked with 4 different food vendors from here in Beaufort, Frank Roberts Oysters, the Sea Eagle Seafood, Q-on Bay, and then Saltus Plums. Eat Local Beaufort is providing the food. So some names that everybody really enjoys will be out there providing food for the day. We have bands, we have performers, we have flamingo dancer, we have a falconer that's going to be there demonstrating, and then we have reenactors that cover from the 16th century all the way up to the Marine Corps. So it's a very full day of activity on a beautiful venue in a 50-acre meadow at Cotton Hall Plantation.
Well, we are definitely looking forward to being out there. Tell us a little bit, if somebody wants to come out, how would they get tickets? How would go about contacting you about that?
Well, of course, this is being put on by the Santa Elena Foundation. You can find most information that you want at our website, which is www.santa-elena.org, or come by the History Center on Bay Street in Beaufort. You can get information about the activities, the schedule of events. You can purchase tickets online. Whatever you need to find will be on that site.
Well, we've been over there. We actually were at a meeting about the fair coming up, and it's looking great over there. What's some of the exhibits and things? What's been going on?
Well, we've been in this building now for coming up on 2 years, which is pretty exciting to see all the activity that's occurred. Our initial exhibit opened in April of 2016 to commemorate 450 years since the arrival of Pedro Menendez and the Spanish here in Beaufort County. We have then planned an expansion which includes many replica artifacts, and so you'll find armor, you'll find much about the daily life of people living on what is today Parris Island in the 16th century. So more, if you've come to visit with us one time, please come back, because there's much going on. We had a very busy summer with children's programs. We have a continuous lineup of educational programs that are put on by scholars, and you can find out about that program or the schedule on our website as well. So please come visit, bring your friends. It's an important feature in downtown Beaufort. And to try to help people plan their activities, we worked with the other museums, with the Badir House, with the History Museum, and also with Spirit of Beaufort tours to put together 1- and 2-day packages. So if people really don't know what to do when they come to town, we have an itinerary that's organized, which is called Experience Beaufort History. And you can find that also on our website.
Well, it's always something to do in Beaufort, and so that's great. Now, you did jog my memory. You've got some special guests coming to the Low Country Fair as well.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, we're delighted that Count Alvaro Armada, who is the direct descendant of Pedro Menendez, will come back to Beaufort. This is his third trip, but it's the first time that he's seen the History Center opened up, so I know he's going to be thrilled. He came twice before to try to promote and help us organize planning for telling the story. Now he's coming to be involved with the Low Country Fair, and we just can't wait for him to come and see people again here in what he considers to be his town, Santa Elena.
Excellent. Well, you've been on Coastline a couple of times and talking about the Santa Elena Foundation, but for those that haven't seen it before, can you tell us a little about the significance of it in the Beaufort area?
Wow. The history since European contact with this part of the New World during the Age of Discovery began here about 1526. So the harbor was first found in 1526 and shows on maps dating that far back. Then it was a contested area. You had, of course, the Native Americans, the Guale Indians were here for 1,000 years. You had the Europeans come in, first the Spanish, then the French, the Spanish again, and finally the English. So it's an important part of our true 500-year history. And there's no place in the country that you can go and find more history than what we have right here in Beaufort County.
Well, let's go right back to the Low Country Fair, which we have out. And so out there with the reenactors, what will some of the reenactors be showing?
Well, we're leaving it up to them. We're providing space, and we're going to ask people that are reenactors from the 16th century. So you'll have Spaniards, you'll have French, you'll have, then we come forward into the Revolutionary period. There will also be people there from the antebellum period, the Civil War reenactors, and then finally the Marine Corps. So we're really excited. There's a team that talk about the history of the Marine Corps. So you'll have a large array of people from Spanish in their helmets all the way through to mounted cavalry and even the Marine Corps.
Now, and that's really cool. I love that stuff. The Marsh Tacky. Some folks may not know about the Marsh Tacky, but they are interesting to watch.
One of the things we show in the History Museum is how horses were transported. They were put in hammocks and they were brought over on ships. And so obviously in unstable seas it'd be hard for them to stand. So they were put in hammocks and brought over. So we know that the horses were brought here with the Spanish settlers dating back to 1566. So the horses that are here in this particular bloodline, the Marsh Tacky horse, is from that period. It's a shorter, sturdier animal that was well adapted to life here in this part of the country. So the Carolina Marsh Tacky Horse Association promotes the bloodline and is delighted to show how well they can run.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're fairly unique to this area.
They are. So the area where the Spanish came in is pretty much from here all the way down to the Florida Peninsula. You'd find those horses.
And they will be racing them?
They will. We expect to have 12 to 15 horses, and we'll have several heats, and they'll be out racing for prizes on the 18th of November.
Are they all specifically from the local area?
No, they're from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, all across.
Excellent. Now, what am I missing? Is there anything that you'd like to get out to the public about the foundation, about the Low Country Fair?
Well, I think we've covered what's really important, and that is there's always something going on at the Santa Elena History Center. So if you've not been there, it's a great place to get to participate in educational programs, especially for children. We have school groups coming, and we have programs for individual children as well. And then we have the expansion of the exhibit. We've got the Count coming back to town, and we have a special event to celebrate fall on the 18th of November.
Excellent. Well, Andy Beall, thank you once again for joining us on Coastline. We really appreciate it. We look forward to working with you. Real quick, tell them one more time your website and such so they can come out to the Low Country Fair.
It's www.santafc.org. www.santa, S-A-N-T-A, hyphen Elena, E-L-E-N-A.org.
Well, thank you for joining us once again on Coastline.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back. We'll be talking concourse coming up shortly.
I'm Emery Campbell, and this is your Beaufort County Moment. The Marsh Tacky is one of the most important assets in the Gullah culture. The Marsh Tacky was used for plowing, for carrying people to church, as well as to pull wagons. It's a breed of horse that was left by the Spanish in the 1500s, and since that time it has been interbred. The Marsh Tacky has a narrow chest and slender legs, but it's a very tough horse. And before modern development, every family had at least one Marsh Tacky. It was like a car or a truck today. And so we have always admired the Marsh Tacky. It is also one of the entertainers of the area because we had races with Marsh Tackies at least twice a year. Today, the Marsh Tacky has been preserved by certain people throughout the county, throughout the Low Country area. This is Emery Campbell, and that has been your Beaufort County Moments.
To see more Beaufort County Moments, go to the Beaufort County Library homepage and click on the Local History tab.
Welcome back to Coastline. I'm Scott Grooms, sitting in for Rick Forstner, who is off today. And right now we're talking concourse, and Carolyn Vanangel's with us. Thank you again for joining us this year.
Sure, happy to.
And I'm always looking forward to the car show. And the motoring festival is coming up. And what's in store for us this year? What's the big thing?
Well, you know, the exciting thing is we just keep getting bigger and bigger and keep adding on more things. And I think a lot of people don't realize that we're actually a 10-day event. That we kick off in Savannah, over at the Westin Savannah Harbor, right across from downtown Savannah, with vintage racing.
And that is fun. That race course, for years it wasn't used after the Indy Lights race.
Correct,
and then
right.
y'all brought it back.
I'm very impressed that you knew that, because it's really, I mean, Savannah's really got a history of racing. I mean, Savannah started racing back in the early 1900s with the Vanderbilt Cup. Then they brought racing back. Really, that track, interesting enough, was built 20 years ago for the Indy Lights race. Yeah. So we're celebrating the 20 years of that road course is what it is being built. And what's cool about that, and that starts October 27th through the 29th is when that kicks off. And when we say vintage racing, it doesn't really mean like really old cars. We've got really old cars that are out there, like what raced in Savannah in the early 1900s. But we have, these are cars, everything from sports cars to NASCARs to open wheel Indy cars, everything are racing against each other on that. It's about a 2-mile road course.
And it's right there at the Westin Savannah Harbor, so it's very quick to get to.
Oh yeah.
Now, when do they come across the bridge? That's always fun.
Well, that's really the kickoff event of the whole motoring festival, 10 days. That is Thursday night, October 26th. The cars, they have their test and tune day that day over at the Hutchinson Island track. What they do, they drive across, invited racers, there's about 25 of them, that drive across the Talmadge Bridge, go down into City Market in downtown Savannah, and there they park, and there's a free event with a party that night. It's called the Pace Lap Party. And it is so cool to be standing there. If you stand down in City Market around 5:30 that Thursday, you can watch these race cars pulling in and parking, and it's very cool.
And there are pieces of history you'll remember from years gone by, and so it's just amazing to see them.
Yeah, oh, it's fabulous. And these are gentlemen racers, and I say that gentlemanly because we have women racers as well. But these are folks that they race their own cars. They're in the hobby because they love to race. They've got cars that have legacies driven by Indy drivers to famous NASCAR drivers, and it's really cool to see these cars out running. And you can go in the pit paddock. I mean, your ticket gets you in to hang out with the racers over there in Savannah.
And they love to talk about their cars. They're very
Yeah.
approachable.
Oh, wonderful. It's wonderful. And the other really couple things I'd like to mention about Savannah before we switch over to Hilton Head is that this year we have a military outpost. Kreitz and Hancock are sponsoring a military outpost. So, which means that military gets in half price with a military ID, and there now will be a place for them to hang out and enjoy, some food in there and enjoy the races. So Kreitz GMC and Hancock are sponsoring that.
And if you've never been over to the track, it is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm so glad it came back. And it's just fun to see these cars out there. They're
Yes,
running.
definitely.
Well, let's jump over to the Hilton Head. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's, again, we're back on
It's at the Port
Port Royal
Royal
Plan.
Golf Club in
Yeah.
Port Royal. It's Port Royal Plantation, not to be confused with the city of Port Royal. We've had that happen, but on Hilton Head Island, it is at the Port Royal Golf Club, and that's right near the Westin. And yes, it will be held there again. And it's interesting though. All week there's stuff going on. I think it's important to go to the website, which is hhimotoringfestival.com, and you can buy tickets to all the events on our website.
And this year, you don't have to deal with our
Knock
hurricane.
on wood. Exactly,
But
right.
Y'all,
Yeah.
I tell y'all came through last year. Tell us about.
Well, I know it's
Yeah,
pretty amazing what we all did. Is last year Hurricane Matthew, paid us an unwelcome visit, and what happened was our event was 3 weeks after we all came back after the evacuation, and it was really a miracle that happened because the town of Hilton Head and everyone in Hilton Head that was involved got behind getting our event to be held. And what's amazing is we were having exhibitors, sponsors from all over the country saying, "Are you going to do it? Are you going to do it?" And really 48 hours after we all got back, we were able to pull it off. We were able to pull the event off.
And you got some recognition for that.
We did. We got the local Chamber of Commerce gave us the Organization of the Year, and then our new governor of South Carolina gave us the Governor's Cup for tourism because of the fact that we showed that South Carolina was still open for business.
Well, that is great, and it's well deserved.
Thank
well
you.
deserved.
Thank you.
This is one of the premier concourse.
It is, and I think, I don't think a lot of people realize what they have in their own backyard. We really are, the second largest event next to the Heritage Golf Tournament to bring in visitors to Beaufort County. And I think that's a really important thing, but it's here available for the locals. And, the locals need to come out and see what they really have in their own backyard. It's incredible, the cars that we bring in.
Now, what is the featured car this year?
The featured mark, yeah. That's always fun. Every year we tend to feature a certain either category of car or a single mark is what we call it. This year we are featuring Cadillac. Cadillac has a wonderful American history, and we have coming in along with the Cadillacs, and you will have Cadillacs going all the way back into pre-war, which is pre-World War II Cadillacs, all the way up to Cadillac being a big sponsor this year. So that's exciting, and we will have the head designer who just retired from General Motors, a guy named Ed Welburn. He's in the Automotive Hall of Fame. And then Kip Wasenko, who was the designer of Cadillac, will both be here talking about this great mark.
Excellent, excellent. And then you have the car show the day before.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that Saturday, and let me give you the dates because I think that's really important. It kicks off in Hilton Head with a big fancy party at the airport on November 3rd, Friday night. And then the public events begin on November 4th, Saturday, and November 5th, Sunday. Saturday is completely different than Sunday, so we encourage people to buy 2-day tickets. Saturday is called the Car Club Showcase, and that is where car clubs from around the country are invited to come in as a club. Okay, and those cars, you can have newer cars than you have on Sunday, which is the Concours. So you'll have everything from muscle cars to exotics, Ferraris and Maseratis and Aston Martins, but they can be newer. So you might see a car that's really special, that is you know, in the early 2000s, okay? But these are all interesting kind of one-off kinds of vehicles. So that's a lot of fun. That's Saturday. And then Sunday is the famed Concours d'Elegance.
And the Concours, the judging for that is much stricter.
Correct, yes. Where Saturday we kind of call it judging light. There's judging on Saturday, but it's the flavor of it is a lot less formal than Sunday is. Sunday, I compare it to two things. The Concours d'Elegance is like either a fine bottle of wine. You know, we all go buy wine in the store. You see it's allocated a certain number of points. All the cars come in with 100 points. And as they're judged within their class, and all the Cadillacs in a certain year will compete against each other. We have the 70th anniversary of Ferrari, so you'll see Ferraris. They compete within their class, and the judges are coming in and basically taking off points.
Yep.
Okay, you know, much like you see, you know, Wine Spectator does with a good bottle of wine. And the other thing I compare it to is a dog show. I know that sounds, but you know, you've got classes, like you look at the Westminster show, classes of cars. They compete within their class for best of show, or excuse me, best of class. The best of class winners compete for best of show.
And the judging on that is so particular, down to
It is.
There's the wrong label on the radiator or something like
It
that.
gets, and everything has to work. The car, you know, the lights have to turn on and the car has to run. You've got to be able to go up to get your award at the stage. But it's amazing. And these are really museum quality cars. These are cars that, you know, are competing at Pebble Beach and Amelia Island, and we're getting incredible cars from all over the country.
But it's great to watch, and you even, like, I was out there, I've been out there most years. I love the
Wonderful,
cars.
wonderful.
And I've seen everything from boats to travel trailers to race cars. I mean, it's just such a wide array, so there's something for everybody.
Yeah, exactly, yes, thank you for our tagline. We do have that along the way. Yes, I think that was when we brought in the kind of the motoring festival concourse. I mean, excuse me, motoring festival, but that's sort of that overriding theme is that you can have anything that motors, right? And that's when we started to expand into what's become an amazing event, which is the Aero Expo.
Yep.
That takes place concurrent on Saturday. So when you buy a ticket for the Car Club Showcase on Saturday, you also get into the Aero Expo, which is held at the Hilton Head Island Airport. That is vintage aircraft, and it's really cool to see that.
I loved it. We went over last year. You jump in a bus right there at the site, and they take you over to the hangars, and really some really cool airplanes.
Exactly. Wonderful planes that are on exhibit. So that's cool. So it's only on Saturday. So when people come on Sunday, that's the Concours. That's the only day. Saturday is the only day that those planes are available for the spectators to see.
Now also, there are other things to do. There's food, entertainment.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's really kind of one of those seen and be seen kind of fun experiences. We have fabulous food. We have food trucks over in Savannah, actually 9 food trucks. In Hilton Head, the catering is done by the Port Royal Golf Club, and it's fabulous food. I mean, everything from, you know, you can drink champagne to have wonderful low country fare. You know, there's a sense of elegance, but it's also for everyone. Don't worry about getting dressed up. It's for everyone to come and enjoy, and I really encourage them to come both days.
Well, I tell you, and two, for me, I needed to pick up a map last year. When I came in there, I was leaving, I was like, oh, there's a whole nother line of cars here. So
yes,
it's huge.
It's amazing. If you still have a couple minutes, I can tell you about some special exhibits that we're going to have this year.
Yes.
Every year we have something that's called the Life exhibit. And you mentioned trailers at one time. One time we had it was called Life on the Road. And we showed how people used to travel, right? Everything from an old Airstream all the way back to a Model A that had a steamer trunk in the back. This year our Life exhibit is called Life for 24 Hours. Now this is in Hilton Head, and it will be there both Saturday and Sunday. These are our 2-day exhibits. And that is going to be famous race cars that have been in endurance races. So these are race cars that have competed in 24-hour events, going all the way back to the early 1900s to current race cars that, you know, Porsche and BMW are racing. And so you are going to see incredible, we're going to have some endurance racers there talking with folks about what is it like to do these races for 24 hours. So people can actually get up and talk with the race drivers. We even have a Penske Corvette there that's very famous. So that's a really, really fun exhibit. So that will be there for both Saturday and Sunday in Hilton Head.
Right, and there's also that I'd say gift shops that they have, things you can buy.
Oh
there
yes,
as
yes,
well.
yes.
Yeah.
Lots of shopping. Everything from jewelry to paintings to things that have to do with automobiles. So yeah, there's a lot of fun. So I am I'll say a lady running the event, and this is something to say is that if you're being not a car person and you're being dragged along with your husband or wife and saying, why am I here? There's plenty of other things to do at the event other than look at cars, but you'll get there and say, I had no idea.
That's it. So do you have a favorite car?
Oh my gosh! Of course, I drive a Mini Cooper. How's
Okay,
that?
there you go.
But I'm partial to of course BMW is a huge sponsor of ours. But I love the European sports cars.
All right.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, tell us once again about the tickets and such, and
Sure.
how to attend the event as well as Savannah.
Sure, be happy to. First of all, you can buy tickets online virtually up to a few days before the event. The event starts October 27th in Savannah. Our website is hhimotoringfestival.com. You can buy all of your tickets for all the events taking place for the entire week online. I encourage that because you kind of skip the lines when you get there by having your advance ticket. And we don't run out though. So if you last minute want to come and see the event, you just can buy tickets on site in Savannah and in Hilton Head as well.
Very quickly, you want to talk about parking? Just touch on that real fast.
Thank you. Parking is at the Hilton Head High Schools. Very important. And you will see big signs, but there's public parking there, and we've got shuttles running all day long. There is no parking at the golf club. So, yes, so you want to park at the Hilton Head High Schools for Hilton Head. And for Savannah, there's parking right on site at the Westin Savannah Harbor.
Beautiful. Carolyn Vanangel, thank you once again for joining us this year for the talking about the festival. Look forward to it.
Great. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you there.
We'll be there. And thank you for joining us on Coastline. I'm Scott Grooms, again, sitting in for Rick Forstner. We'll see you next month.
Since 2007, the County Channel has brought meetings, entertainment, and events to Beaufort County. Now the County Channel has a new way of informing you of happenings in our community. County Channel Radio, bringing you all the favorites of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, plus the information you need to know. To listen, go to bcgov.net and click on the County Channel Radio logo. County Channel Radio, your source for information in Beaufort County.